In 1991, the Department of Forestry launched a community forestry pilot scheme in the West Coast region. Community Forestry Program facilitates the transfer of ownership using a formal three-phase approach. In this process, legal ownership of forest areas is handed over to communities that are able to demonstrate commitment and dedication to sustainable forest management, to be carried out by the Community Forest Committees, CFCs, the responsible body within the community, in a stepwise and gradual process. In a bid to contribute to the attainment of Forestry Policy 2010 to 2015 objectives, the ministry responsible for forestry, in collaboration with Department of Forestry and the Forest and Farm Facility FFF program, FAO in the Gambia on the 1st to the 5th September 2015 handed over 77 community forestry areas to the local population.
Actually, the partnership is so great because we are basing this partnership on our second pillar of FFF, where we support government cross-sectoral coordination on agriculture and natural resource management. So basically this partnership, since the tour, you've seen we've been handing over forest management responsibilities to the local population. And this is one of our mandates based on our voluntary guidelines on responsible governance of tenure on forest, fisheries and wildlife. So basically our collaboration, we are funding the ministry to be able to go out to hand over these management responsibilities, because this is very key. We are contributing to the attainment of the forest policy objectives of handing over 200,000 hectares of forest to the population.
Forest and Farm Facility, FFF, is a partnership between FAO, IUCN, and IIED, and promotes government multi-sectoral coordination and further enhances the organization and capacity of local people and communities so that they can improve their livelihoods and engage in policy dialogues and decision-making processes concerning the management of forest landscapes at all levels.
We have visited two community forests, one in Bakindik and one in Tuba, which is in Nyani, Tuba Kuta and Tuba Koto. These are forests that are managed by the communities over the years, and we are very impressed by the management of this community forest. If you look at the density of the forest, you look at the composition, we were told that during the last 10 years there were no forest fires. They are really benefiting from the resources. They were able to use resources from the forest to intervene in community projects, which is very good. In fact, that was one of the purposes of giving them back the forest so that they can benefit from it, improve on the management, and then also improve on their own livelihoods. So the objective of the community forest, which is in line with the forestry policy, the new one, which is also going to end in 2019, and the Forestry Act is beneficial.
Given its stakeholder status, FAO is said to have made significant strides and achievements in the agricultural sector in order to consolidate and sustain rural development initiatives geared towards improving the living standards of communities across the country.
When I first arrived 2 years ago, one of the things that I was asked to look into and to inquire about was the transfer of the legal documents to the community groups that FAO has been working very closely with for quite a number of years. So today is really a tremendous occasion for us, and I'm really pleased to be here. What is important in this is that this kind of community forestry governance is in keeping with the key principles of the voluntary guidelines on responsible governance and tenure, as endorsed by governments and states during the 38th special session of the Committee on World Food Security and FAO's own strategic objectives. In other words, FAO holds this kind of governance of community forestry in extremely high esteem. And we congratulate the government of the Gambia for taking this bold step. And we congratulate the communities who have complied with all the conditions that were required to get us to where we are today.
FAO, according to officials, has been working closely with the Environment Ministry to ensure sustainable management of forests and the enhancement of livelihoods.
My impression is knowing their potentials, knowing the area that they come from. I think they have the potentials. This is why they were identified and certificated to take ownership on their own to make good use of the forest that they have.
Observers say the country's community forest initiative is impressive. This, according to officials, prompted more communities to opt to be part of the program.
We have also visited a woodlot in Badibu, which is also a demonstration of the willingness and the commitment of the communities to plant more trees, because you realize that the North Bank is the most affected region from Bara all the way to Wuli. So people have realized the need for them to plant trees, both fruit trees and trees that are of economic value to them.
4 years ago, the FAO extended financial support to the Fisheries Department to help us assess the state of our forests. The findings of that exercise disclosed 3 important points. For the past 10 years, the Gambia's forests lost almost 97,000 hectares and nearly 100,000 hectares of forest cover. How did we lose 100,000 hectares of our forest cover? The findings of the FAO-supported assessment revealed that great chunks of our forest cover were turned into farmlands. As it stands, our forest cover is less than 300,000 hectares. If we should lose 10,000 hectares every 10 years, this means in 30 years' time we will be left with nothing.
Forest resources are among the biological productive ecosystems with unique environmental and economic benefits to man for sustainable development.
In everything that we are doing that is development, what is key is the team. For me, team together each achieves much. And that's why I really want to acknowledge one thing. In this process we are on, I think first of all, FAO is a good partner of the forestry ministry, but government. So I thought we should really acknowledge this fact, because this process of making it smooth, they facilitated it, and communities being aware of certain things, FAO facilitated it. So I thought I want to thank FAO on behalf of government for the support, and I really want to say that FAO should please continue to be good partners that they've been with the government, because handing over is one process that is key. It's key, but also we continuing to support the community is another key thing. And let me also acknowledge the efforts of all the regional authorities and their people for their participation through the process.
According to beneficiaries, this is part of efforts geared towards the eradication of hunger and reduction of poverty, based on the Principles of Sustainable Development in Rural Communities initiative.
Looking at it today, it is imperative that the benefit of our forests transcend to the felling of trees for commercial purposes. There is every need for our forests to be protected and properly managed for the benefit of mankind. The President's call to eating what we grow and growing what we eat is not limited to the cultivation and harvesting of rice or other crops. It also includes the planting of trees to help ourselves. Therefore, we the committee members should stand firm and protect our forest as it is our own. We are grateful for what FAO did by giving us a certificate of recognition. We will henceforth continue to tighten our belt and make best use of our knowledge transferred to us by the FAO.
This project is so important to us, given that we only had few trees in our forest. It's a different scenario now, as we are now capable of meeting some of our basic needs in the village. Besides, in the face of climate change, we lost so many trees which also forced bees out of our forest. But since the FAO stepped in to build our capacities on forest management, we are now well placed to take care of bees, which in turn allow us to harvest good honey, among other uses of the forest. In a nutshell, our knowledge of the forest and its uses has been augmented. Ever since we were given these seedlings, we and our children continue to reap lots of benefits, as opposed to those days when we had few trees. But thanks to the intervention of the FAO, we are using this forest and its resources to generate income, out of which we also paid our children's school fees, as well as put funds into our village account.
The country's community forest initiatives have been impressive, and this has obliged more communities to request for participation in the engagement. To this end, officials express optimism of the giant strides towards landscape protection and forest management over the years.
If you look at the MRC policy, its main objective is to empower the people in agriculture, particularly those benefiting from the forest resources. So the policy aims and objective is to empower them, encourage them to maximize the benefits that are acquired from the natural resources that are within agriculture and the forest at large.
For an intervention with lofty ideals, this community-led initiative is expected to further enhance the forest regeneration process and as well provide communities with a viable lifeline in building sustainable livelihood. But one of the main challenges of development of forests after having successfully revitalized communities' forests countrywide with a maximum support from the Office of the President now is to ensure that it remains a dynamic process becoming increasingly attractive for the rural population. The community forestry pursues to contribute to the protection and maintenance of an adequate national forest cover.